Welcome. Just gonna wait for everyone to see. Great. I'm gonna try to make this as dynamic as possible. So if I start asking you questions and get you to intervene, please don't be shy because I really don't want you to just listen to me today. So we can all collaborate in this conversation. So welcome everyone. We're gonna talk about driving up engagement and why actually everything starts with empathy. My name is Naksha. I'm a solution consultant for UserTesting. I'm also a accredited life coach, NLP coach, and the reason why I bring that out is because we're going to talk about human behaviors. We're going to talk about how we actually connect with technology as humans and how that connects as well with app development or anything really that we want to sell. So what we're going to do today, we're going to talk a little bit about why empathy is important from an organization perspective. Where do we start? And we're here after is when we are going to try to connect the dots, all of us together. And then I will talk a little bit about user testing because why not, right? Like I can show you how we can help on that process of empathy. So what's empathy? Who wants to tell me what do you guys think that? What's empathy? Who's brave? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's connecting with someone else. Emotions, behaviors, trying to understand why they're behaving that way. And why do you think that's important when developing an app? Come on.
You have to like the app, so you have to show your empathy to the app, of course, to use it. So there
Yeah.
has to be an interaction between the two.
Yes, correct. So essentially, well, and I'll do that in a second. Empathy is literally what you said. It's about connecting with how people react with emotions and how they behave. Why that's important? Because through apps, we get closer to the consumers, right? We get closer to the users, and we actually need to understand what they like. If we don't know what they like, we don't know if we are actually developing the right solution for their problem. We always focus, oh, we have this great idea, we have this great app, we need to solve this problem for you. But what if I don't know if that actually means a problem for you? What if I don't know how you see the problem in your life? And that could be an e-commerce app, that could be going through, I don't know, fitness classes through a specific streaming app. Like it could really be anything, but it's really about putting yourself in the position of the user. And that's why it's really important. So I'm gonna keep getting you to actually talk to me today. And I also got some prizes to give to anyone that actually gets the right answer. So how likely, percentage-wise, are consumers to do business with brands that they feel connection with? Is it 15, 30, 86? Who wanna guess? Who wants to get the prize? 86. I got some prizes here. You said it first, so you take the first one. Maybe like this I will get everyone to say something and put the hands up. Okay, so how likely are Empathetics brand to be forgiven for mistakes? I need hands up. I cannot just choose. Let's see there on the back. 50? 93? 93? There you go. Don't worry, we got one last one for later, so you still have the chance. There you go. 93. I really like these questions, and I'm just going to stop here for a second. Why do you think we really need consumers to forget our mistakes? We are humans. We are humans. Yeah, we are. We have technology. Technology is amazing now. We have AI. Yeah, that's great. But actually, as a brand of making sure that people connect, we could be product people. It could be marketing people. It doesn't really matter which team are you in, but you really want that consumer at the end that love you so much. Doesn't matter if the button on the app doesn't work, right? They'll give you the opportunity to fix it. And that's empathy. And the consumers will be empathic with you if you are actually empathic with them. If they feel that you're putting them first. If they don't feel that, and your app is broken, or your website or the marketing campaign doesn't make any sense, and the landing page doesn't work, trust me, they won't carry on through the whole journey. And that's why I always want to go back to empathy and to connecting with users. So where do we start? Connecting. We need to connect with people. And I wanted to go around and try to understand how do you guys at the moment connect with users? So if anyone wants to participate, just let me know in which team are you, what's your role, and how do you know what your consumers need from you at the moment? Yeah?
User research, for example.
Yeah, how do you do user research?
We usually have some agencies in the local community, and then they gather some potential users, and we try to understand how they listen to the app,
Okay.
the ads that we show.
Okay, so we have the option of agencies that do that research for us and tell us how the consumer feels. Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, Mario, product owner from the my A1 and A1 Austrian Telecom.
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, you get feedback in stores, so store comments. We also have an
Okay.
feedback tool in our app where we collect feedback and also a TNPS tool, which
NPS.
TNPS
Yeah.
score also gives us
Yeah.
feedback from users.
Yeah. And those are all great ways. Yeah, those are all great ways because you know how people feel. Everything has a really fine line on whether we're getting feedback from frustrated people. That's why people usually complete surveys, right? Like, oh, I'm so frustrated, let me complain now. Or actually, it could be, well, this agency is connecting with certain people, the profile we told them, is that as organic as we need it to be? Am I getting the right value out of it? Am I understanding it as a product manager? Am I understanding as a product marketing role? Because I can get a report. Do I understand it? So I think it's trying to understand the big picture. And I'm just going to challenge everything right now, and I'm just going to take you to see that big picture on how can we bring that empathy to your process. So we know that change is constant, and especially this time. I don't know if you feel it, but I feel it. After the pandemic, everything changed in seconds. Like before, technology was evolving. Pandemic happens, and it's like it's just a 300 kilometers per hour. Like, it's just absolutely crazy how things are developing, which essentially becomes a challenge for all of us when we want to sell an offering, develop a product, because we need to be fast, but we need to make sure we do it right. Otherwise, it's going to be more expensive for us. And also what happens is that actually tech changes that impact on human behavior. So, and I'm going to give an example of this. Before, how would people, forget about social media for a second, first apps in the world, the mobile apps were starting, the Apple started with the iPhones. How did we choose what app to download before? Sorry? They were on the phone. Yes, they were in the phone. What else? Word of mouth, maybe. A friend recommended this. Oh, this is actually quite cool, you should try it. Now we have how many influencers targeting us? How many companies targeting us through social media? Or maybe we're asking ChatGPT, what should we do? Oh, I'm traveling here. Which app should I download to, I don't know, get the best reviews in restaurants? You have so many things around that it will be impacting the behavior of those consumers that you really need to understand firsthand what they're saying, okay, or what they're feeling, because 86% of what we do is based on emotions. It's not a conscious decision what you're doing, really. Everything is driven by the subconscious. Well, 80%. The conscious is there, but there's lots of emotions. So if I had a bad day, you'll get a bad review on those app comments. But if I'm having a good day, and I remember that I like your brand, I might just give it a try tomorrow, or I might just uninstall the app and install it again, right? It's so variable. And you'll see why I keep giving you all of these details. Well, he knew it better, probably. He knew that you need to start with that customer experience and then work your way backward with technology. The standard behavior, the standard behavior that we tend to see in any tech organization is that we try to start with the technology and then fix it as we see the behavior and interaction with the app. How much money do you think that's costing you? at the moment. Around 50% of projects, well, project cost is actually used on rework or fixing problems. And I'm sure you guys, some of you work with great profitable organizations. Imagine if that money actually duplicates because we reduce that 50%, and it could be just to 40%. And it's just by connecting with people, right? We don't need to fix the mistakes. We actually understand first what's happening, what they need, and then we do it. Then you reiterate. We're not perfect, we're humans. We want them to understand us as well. But we need to find the right balance. So how do we start? And this is how, in user testing, we work with our clients, but also people that want to involve and bring empathy into their processes. We try to understand and connect this feedback or these insights, these emotions, this empathy from the users into the whole value drivers of our offering, okay? That's an internal work. And it's not about developing the app. It's trying to be more strategic. It's trying to think a little bit more outside the box for a second. Then we kind of build human insights into the process. We connect with our customer journey, so we actually make it part of our workflow. We shouldn't be looking for feedback when things go wrong. We shouldn't have a pile of tickets for the dev team to sort out or support to be dealing with. Or maybe if we understand why those tickets are there, we will expect them and we can be ready for the changes. And ultimately, we can benchmark and we can see how the performance is going and keep being better, better and better, and obviously more profitable. There is one thing that I've seen a lot, and our company have seen a lot on the last couple of years, which is called detached quantification. So how many of you focus on numbers? Don't be shy, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If I need to go to the CMO, if I need to go to the CRO, what do you think they're gonna care the most about? Numbers. If I tell them 10 people told me the app is not working, do you think they're gonna listen to me? Nah. But unfortunately, it's a guess game, right? We are detaching the whole, we're very detached from what actually is happening because we focus on numbers. And the exec team won't stop caring about the numbers. I'm not saying that. And I'm not telling you, don't give them the numbers. No. But you need to try to balance those numbers, balance those results with what's actually the emotion and the empathy behind why people are behaving the way they behave. So, an example to that, so it makes more sense. If we go to and check Google Analytics, for argument's sake, and we see that people are dropping off just before checking out on our app, or just before booking something within our app, we know what's happening, right? And we might have 2,000 people know that are dropping off. How do you know what's the problem at the moment? What would you do if you have to, you know that there is a problem there at the moment, any of you in your current role? You know there is a problem, people are dropping off. How do you know the why? Okay. How do you know what they're perceiving? How do you know if the problem wasn't related with those events and maybe the person had a bad day or had a worry or their computer didn't work? I think that duplicated policies all the time. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. You will know all the time as well. I don't want to be extremist. It's not just black and white. I need to know everything that people feel all the time. No. But the problem is that we get to guess a lot. So the journey of events, that's great. We need to understand what's happening, and you can predict, but then sometimes actually the problem is something that you didn't think. You don't have an idea how many product teams I work with. For example, they were like, oh, let's say fashion retail. Our problem is the size chart. It's very complex, you know? I've been going through the whole journey, same thing. Going through the whole journey, people don't understand their sizes, the chart is not true to size, so there's lots of returns. We use user testing, and I'll talk about it later. They connect with the people, and actually, the problem is that they couldn't click in the button to check out, and they didn't have the options because the card wasn't on a side, was opening on an extra tab. There you go, an example of you can predict everything. You cannot predict their emotions either, but it will be good if you can have a mix. So if you check what you just said, that is actually great, the whole journey of actions just before, then connecting with the why at some point and trying to connect with people. So the way we do it first is we work with companies internally to try to understand how we can actually bring the value of being empathetic within the organization. So we need to understand the business objective. Usually it's making revenue, we know that. Usually it's being customer-centric, I'm gonna fix all the issues of your life with one app, we know that. There's probably a vision connected with that objective, right? We want to make the world better, we want to make your life better. But then there are team objectives, right? That we align. And what happens is that as we go further down the funnel, we realize that actually, at some point we forget about the empathy. We forget about truly connecting with those users, and we go back to being very reactive. And we are focusing on numbers. Oh, I don't have time for that. Let me just run a big survey. I get 2,000 answers. I know what's wrong. Would you really? That's the question. And that's what I will always challenge and see how can we actually connect empathy with all of this. Another thing that is actually very important, because I don't want to come here and say, oh, you need to be empathetic, talk with everyone. So yeah, I have a lot of work to do. How do I supposed to do that? We work with organizations, and one of the things that we always encourage is to understand what are you doing at the moment that works. Is it analyzing the previous journey of the people that are dropping off working for me? Am I still having the same percentage of drop-offs? Okay, so then something might not be working. When I go to the exec and I go with the big numbers, are they listening to me? Are we prioritizing correctly? Do we have a massive backlog? You know, like how are your KPIs changing as an individual in your role, but also for the team that connects with the value that the company wants to achieve and actually what we want to offer to our clients. So you can actually map out the tech stack that you have at the moment. It might be that you are using Hotjar, it might be that you're using UserTesting, it might be that you have an agency that helps you out through the process, or it might be that you have Google Analytics. But you need to understand at which step of the way you need something else. And this is where I will encourage all of you to try to understand at which step of the way you want to plug that user feedback. Not big numbers, someone telling you, this is what's happening to me. If I download it on an iOS, it works. If I download it on an Android, it doesn't. Why? Is it the version of my software? How do you know that by numbers? Not necessarily, right? And this is how we will connect. So one of the big things we always champion is to try to test to design instead of design to test. And I will say the same. This could apply to the design of the application and the journey. This could apply for a design of a landing page or a content, a TV advertising, a TikTok reel. I'm gonna spend lots of money on influencer advertising because I know that's the way. People buy from people. How do you know that content is gonna sell to your audience? Give it a try. Why not? Put it in front of 5 people and ask them, if you see this on TikTok next time you go there, would you download the app? And then you get the feeling, you understand it more. So it's not a third party telling you how your consumer feels, it's them. You also can obviously launch, get everything to be better slightly. So it doesn't need to be from scratch if you're just starting with the app, but it's the whole process of how can we integrate in each of your cycles, each of your journey, and ultimately, we want to make sure this is shared within organizations. For example, I have one of the clients that they used to do advent calendars of feedback. So they used to get a video of one of the users using their website. 3-minute video, 2-minute video, and that used to be emailed to everyone in December as an advent calendar. So it doesn't matter if you're finance, doesn't matter if you are a developer coding, but you know what your consumer feels. You know that what you're doing is bringing an impact. So we can see that empathic side to both sides. At the end of the day, you want to be good at your job, right? And you want to make sure, yeah, there is the owner, there is the organization, there is the CEO, but we all want to bring impact. We want to impact someone. So if the user feels that you as an organization cares about them, they'll be there for you. They will champion what you're offering to them. But also, if you feel you're doing your job right, and someone in the world is using whatever you develop or saw your campaign, how good would that feel? Like, I'm sure we wouldn't just feel that we're just working, if it gives more value to what you're doing. And ultimately it's trying to connect in every spot and every point of the journey. So I always have an example of our marketing team at UserTesting. We had an event similar like this one in the UK, and we were trying people to sign up through a landing page, okay? No one was signing up. I think we had like 5 people, and we didn't know why. We know that was happening. We didn't know why. We launched a little study in UserTesting, which, by the way, I'll explain how the platform works, but the point is that we got results in a couple of hours. In a couple of hours, we had 3 people going through the landing page. The problem was that the country, the selection of the country when people were registering, it wasn't in alphabetical order. People didn't care. People was like, I'm not gonna go through the whole searching. It was just a simple change that it would have taken us a couple of hours or more, or a day, trying to figure it out. That was a quick change. We changed it, 300% conversion on that. We got the events full. Simple thing, and that will take me a second with the right platform, okay? So it's about that. It's about connecting and making sure that what you're doing is bringing the right impact. And ultimately, this is actually what I talked about before, about benchmarking. So the cool thing about platforms like UserTesting is that you can not only benchmark behavior. So if we talk about NPS, or we try to check Google Analytics, we can understand behavior, right? We know where people click. We know if they were successful clicking where we want them to click. We understand if the navigation, the search engine was right. But what about the attitude? How do we benchmark that? So within platforms like UserTesting, we know and we can actually benchmark a little bit more about the whole part of the attitude. What are they feeling when they deal with the platform? Are they loyal to the brand? Is it a new thing? Do they feel that it's welcoming? Do they feel that they trust? And like that, we can put a score to it. An example of this, Adobe is one of our biggest clients, and they do benchmarking every release within their own apps, internal benchmarking, not even external, okay? Internal benchmarking based on release. So they can go and say, well, last time we released this, or we had this plan for this specific functionality, we got 72. That's average. That's okay, over 100. But actually, we want to improve it. They went through the whole change, they ran some tests, they did some benchmark, and the same people or different people said, well, actually, I'm liking this more now. Okay, great. Now we can go with this release. At least we feel more confident that we're going the right way. And like that, you can make mistakes earlier. Okay? We want to learn from everything. So that's really how, different ways how you can bring empathy to your flow. I'm gonna talk about UserTesting and how, as a platform, we can support you on that. But before we get to that, I want to do another exercise because I want you guys to talk a little bit more with me. I wanted to talk about how can we actually find the right thing to do for your organization. How can you actually bring empathy to your organization? So this is an exercise that I usually run with our clients or potential clients that they don't really know where to plug it in. I call it an empathy planner. That's why, because an empathy success planner, how I can bring the empathy. And the first thing I talk about is the business objective. I took a very, very high level example in here, is fitness app, okay? I want to solve everyone's problem of not wanting to go to the gym. So people want to have a wellness journey, they want to care about themselves, and they want to personalize focus, right? And a lot of things that I see as well is as a business objectives, we usually, and a strategy, as you can see over here, yeah, we want to drive growth, but we are customer-centric. We are. How many companies do you actually think are customer-centric? I don't have the percentage in the screen, but do you feel that most of the companies are actually customer-centric? Nah, I would say probably half of them. The other half say they are, but when you go deep into their processes, they never ask a question to any of their users. You don't have an idea how many times I've seen that, especially with big organizations. So, and this is an exercise that you don't need me to come and do this with you. I mean, we do, as in the consulting process of user testing, but this is the exercise that I always encourage people to do within organizations, is really pausing for a second. It's fine. We can take an hour of our day. It's like when people tell you, oh, you can take an hour of your day to exercise. You can take an hour of your day to analyze the value and bring the empathy together. So if my business objective is to personalize a journey for a person, wellness journey, X journey, and I want to be customer-centric, then I try to analyze, well, where actually are those initiatives for next year or for the whole year? Can you see the layers there? And how all of this needs to be connected? Most of the time, if I want to be customer-centric, and one of my initiatives are, well, actually, we want to localize the brand and launch the brand in different countries, that will connect with actually being a personalized platform, okay? We are on a constant drive in our lives. And it's not only about work. We don't stop. We don't think about all of these connections. We know we have a KPI. We know we are selling an app. What happened after? So how do I know that I can be customer-centric and offer a personalized experience to people in Spain? What would you guys do? The new year's starting. You're launching the product you're working on, and you need to localize that. Doesn't matter your role. You don't need to be marketing only, or you don't need to only be product. You know, like, doesn't matter the role you're in. How do you know you're offering that personalized customer-centric experience? Yeah?
I think before we take 2 steps back and connect to what you mentioned about empathy, and then look into what you're trying to offer as a solution to people that are in Spain.
Yeah.
If they really get that match, and then iterate if there's no like a full connection.
You wouldn't copy what you have to Spain, would you?
I would use something that already have as a baseline, but really understand if that's actually sufficient. But overall, yes, I would try to do some adaptation or calculation and be a bit more specific, considering the specific needs that people in Spain might have.
Yeah. What about language?
For sure.
And Spain is a very specific example because it's just a different language. It's not like English, right? I have another one for one of the questions I'll ask. What about UK versus US? We're probably talking about the same thing, and we use completely different words. Even in Spanish, I'm originally from South America. If I go to Spain, sometimes they don't get me. Sometimes I said words and they don't know what I'm saying. And I don't know what they're saying either. You know, like, it's just such a different, and it could be that we're calling the lift or the elevator. You know, like, it's all of those little things. And that's why it's very important to go through actually how all of this works. How can I'm connecting what I'm actually working on at the moment with the people, and how I'm checking all of that, how I'm bringing the empathy into that process. And then We care about APIs, KPIs, right? I want to have a 30% increase on user acquisition. All of that can be connected, and that's a great exercise to do. And then afterwards, you can actually understand, oh, well, if I know what I'm doing now, maybe right now, I'm waiting for tickets to be reported into the support tab. If I have 2,000 tickets, I'll work on that feature. I'll fix it. If I have 200, that's on the backlog. What happens if that feature that no one has complained about because they don't know they can, let's be honest, we're humans, sometimes we don't know if we can complain, depend on the culture. There are cultures that complain the most than others. Sometimes you feel like, oh no, I'm a people pleaser. 1 second, I don't want to I don't want to make anyone feel bad. You know, like I might as well just download a different app. Everyone acts in a different way. So you really need to understand what's happening to prioritize. So, but if you go through your now, and this is the exercise that I do through with my customers and people that need some help, what am I doing now? So if I'm focusing on surveys potentially in the future, I actually want to make sure things are more automated. I don't want to wait for things to break for me to bring the empathy into it. What do you think is the biggest blocker in organization? And whoever answers, I'll give you the person. What do you think is the biggest blocker in organizations with trying to bring empathy as part of their processes? Budget. Yeah. That's actually a good one, but I would try to think even deeper. What else?
Bureaucracy, like processes that are not like going anywhere.
Communication, bureaucracy, revenue.
I would say the mindset.
Sorry?
The mindset of each business unit is so difficult to
Yeah.
change.
They're all right, and I wish I had more of this. But I'm going to give it to you because of the mindset. Why? It's so different, and the conversation needs to be different. And if I have any marketer in here, you know that the message is different depending on who you're talking to, right? We have the big hippos in the organizations where if I go to the owner, the founder, and I say, this app doesn't really work this way, I think we should change the vision. They're passionate about it. They want to do that, you know, like, and it's more about who has the biggest voice, who fights the most for their perspective. Mindset. Do I care about people, the drop-off? No, probably my mindset is on, I need to develop this, I need to get it done now, I have a pipeline, you know? That's my KPI. No one has connected the dots to me. I don't know why I should be different, focusing my mindset in a different way, because actually, do I know the business objective? Do I care about it? Do I know how that connects with my KPI? I can tell you that 80%, 90% of the companies I work with, when I get to this situation and to doing these type of workshops, they go like, wow, this is like a therapy session. We haven't thought about this before. And that's what I want to encourage you to do today. Okay, whether it's with partner softwares that can help you with the consultancy process, like UserTesting, or if it is bringing someone in, or if it is you as an internal initiative, try to connect the dots to then connect the empathy, because you want the clients and the users to be empathetic with you. If there is a mistake, as the question I put before, and the app stopped working, you want them to forgive you for your mistake because you're a human. But then you need to include them as well. Does anyone have any question so far? Yeah. How do you do it at scale? That's actually a really, really good question. You need technology for that, and that's the best way. So before, we used to see that the only way to scale these type of things and connect with feedback, again, that's why we rely on numbers a lot, and we will go, oh, that's scalable. And that's the mindset. We think that if we run a survey, we get 2,000 people, that means scale, right? Not really, but so it's about connecting it with the right processes internally. So first it comes the culture, first it comes the mindset. It's change management, that'll take a while. I'm not gonna lie, you will plant the seed and then you will try and try and try. But then I think the key process on that change is it needs to be the right piece of the puzzle within the workflow of any team. So if we want the product team to be engaged with empathy and with connect with users, then we need to empower them to do so with the right technology that doesn't disturb their timing, okay? Same with marketing. Marketers, we're too busy doing 5 people's jobs. You know, we are doing everything. And that happens everywhere in many departments, right? So we need to just make sure that if I'm gonna add an extra step to it, it's very smooth. You know, like it goes through, it connects with the right tools, is the right integration, has the right integrations, and then after it makes it easier for me to analyze and process the message and then present it to my exec team, for example. I'll give you the example of UserTesting. That's the platform I'm here to encourage people to think about, but the actual vision of UserTesting is lead the movement for empathy. Okay, it's how try to bring beyond the fact, and I don't want to diminish the value of researchers whatsoever, because our platform is used by researchers. But what I want to do is say, well, what happens if everyone can do a bit of research? What if everyone can connect with your user? And that's how we want to inspire people. So, and this is how we scale it with tools like UserTesting, where you will be able to get answers at your fingertips. How? Again, asking questions, getting results in a couple of hours. I know what was wrong. Okay, I don't need to wait for 2,000 people to be frustrated and complete a survey. Then escalating the efforts by having the right integrations with the right technologies. For example, we connect with Content Square, or we do intercept on websites as well, or on apps, and then that means that I don't need to think about what's happening, everything is connected, and then I can just see it. Same with product team, we connect with Jira, so if a ticket is generated to design something, or for support, or for the project managers or product managers, everything will be connected. I don't need to go from one side to another and lose lots of time. And ultimately, what we want with all of this automation is that we actually want insights to surface automatically. I might just enable notifications on Teams or Slack, and everyone in the company get a little video of what people are saying. So we're trying to make that process more scalable, as well as offering a intuitive platform, very flexible, so teams that are potentially not used to be researching all the time, they can just connect quite quickly, make better decisions, and be more flexible. So what's UserTesting? UserTesting is that platform. Now we have a set of tools that have merged together, so the big software providers for research have come together into one, which is UserTesting. So you can get fast feedbacks and insights. We have advanced experience research, so if you really want to go deep, you can. Okay, I'm just encouraging the whole spectrum because I want you to bring the value of what people say. And ultimately, is the whole experience hub. Where can we put this? A little library that everyone can have access to it. So ultimately, you have one complete experience research platform. I don't like to call it research. Experience empathetic platform, where you can have surveys. So you'll have some quantitative values there, some numbers there, but then maybe I can actually just ask people what they think. We will incentive them, so you don't need to worry about that. Or maybe we can ask the questions for you and do it as a project. So we have the software, but we also have the services. And it's really trying to bring that what to the why, and that's where UserTesting wants to connect. Okay, so when you see those big numbers, what do they mean? UserTesting will give you that why. So actually, through the whole development process, you have that continuous feedback. So we want to encourage, and probably you're already listened to this for a couple of times today, but what I want to get to it is that we actually want to make sure that you're building the right thing at the right time, and if you need to make mistake, make it earlier, but at least you know you're on the right way based on that on those feedback. So like that, everything can be connected. So we talk about services, about growth, like internally as well, at the point of making decision or interacting. We were talking about bureaucracy before, maybe teams having more power internally, maybe roles, or just of the nature of the culture of the company. But if we actually bring that empathy together, we will be able to connect all the teams, and you all will be more happy doing your job, I promise. And I've seen that switch because of the value that it brings. I have some examples of it, and I think this is because I'm conscious of time. There is an e-commerce in the UK. I cannot say the name, but it's one of our biggest clients. And they basically got a £15 million incremental revenue in 90 days by testing a button of their mobile app and their e-commerce. They didn't know what was happening. They thought they knew when we asked them. We work with them and say, oh, what do you think there is a problem? Oh, yeah, we have great revenue, that's fine. Yeah, we make lots of money. Yeah, you do, but what do you want to do? Oh, we want to increase 30% revenue. Okay, yeah. What do you think the problem is? Oh, the size chart. Okay, yeah, that wasn't the problem. The problem was something completely different, and that was 15 million incremental revenue in 90 days, because 90 days was what it took them to fix everything, connected, get the teams together, but it was an immediate change that they could take. It's actionable insight, actually, actionable emotions. And I think that's one of the things I want you to go away from here today. Not only numbers are actionable, okay? Emotions are also actionable, because we're humans, we're not robots, not yet. Hopefully we have still a few years to having more human side in everything, and it's not only technology. But emotions are very important. That feedback is very important, and being empathetic is very important. And I think I already mentioned a couple of these ones throughout my whole conversation, but this is the type of clients we work with to help with that. And we are really here to partner with anyone at any stage, whether it's in a self-serve perspective. So if you want to be able to have a tool where you go and ask for that feedback, or actually, Naksha, I need you to come here and bring the team and they can do the research for me or ask the question because I don't even know what to ask or where to start. That's fine. We can work with you on that. So yeah, that's us. That's how empathy is important to bring into your job, to your day-to-day, and why we're so passionate about it, or at least I am. And that's why I think that apart from user testing as a software, I think it's very important to connect with that empathetic journey. I'm conscious of time, and probably you are all starving, but does anyone have any other question before I let you go? You're hungry, right? Well, thank you so much for being here today. I hope you can take a little bit of the emotion side of things. So even if we work in tech, we can keep bringing emotions to it and onto what we do and what you are doing things for. If you have any questions, more questions, we are downstairs on our user testing little corner. And my colleagues are just at the door. They'll probably ask you to take a picture of your badge so we know who came over. And yeah, thank you so much. Enjoy lunch.